Hello everyone, this is CA Prachi Parekh. In today's short video, we are going to analyze the provisions of tax collected at source which have been newly inserted by the Finance Act 2020 and which are soon to be made applicable from the 1st of October 2020. Before we look at what the provisions talk in brief and the resultant issues, let me give you a brief idea of tax collection at source or TCS. Earlier, the provisions of TCS were applicable in respect of a specified category of goods, for example, sale of motor car or alcoholic liquor or scrap, etc. Now, under the subsection 1H, which is newly introduced in the Income Tax Act, every kind of seller who is selling goods of any variety is going to be covered by the applicability of these provisions. So it's sort of widened the base of people who are going to now be required to comply with the TCS provisions. Let us understand what the subsection talks of. So every particular seller whose turnover in the immediately preceding previous year is in excess of INR 10 crores is going to be affected by these provisions and would be liable to comply with them. Apart from this, another criteria is that in the particular previous year in question, the aggregate amount of consideration which the seller receives from a particular buyer in respect of sale of goods is in excess of INR 50 lakhs. So on fulfillment of this twofold criteria, the seller would be required to collect tax at source at a specified percentage of 0.1% from the consideration, along with the consideration amount which he receives from the buyer. It is important to note here that for the financial year 2021, the rate of TCS is 0.075% in view of the COVID-related relaxations that were given out by the ministry. So these are the bare provisions in a very brief scenario. There are certain exclusions from the applicability of this particular section, which is in the context of state governments, central governments, embassies, etc., which are not to be included in the definition of the term seller. Apart from these, goods which are exported outside India are also to be excluded from applicability of TCS provisions. So this is a quick kind of recap of the amended provisions which came in. Now, more important thing here is what are the resultant issues which one can foresee or perceive as a result of these provisions. First and foremost, the major issue or the major question before us is what is exactly defined by or meant by the term goods, since it's not been defined under the Income Tax Act. Now the particular subclause, which is subsection which has been inserted, merely talks of TCS in respect of goods which are sold by a particular seller, and of course the fulfillment of the threshold criteria. The Income Tax Act 1961 as such does not define the term goods, in view of which we would have to be looking at other relevant statutes wherein goods has been defined. So one could look at the Sale of Goods Act or the GST Act wherein the term goods has been defined. Now if we assume to look at the Sale of Goods Act for example, then goods would include every kind of possible items except immovable property, money and actionable claims. So this kind of puts us in a dilemma as to what exactly is the Income Tax Act trying to cover in the definition of goods. Unless and until there is a clarity as regard to the inclusions or exclusions of certain items in these terms, there is always going to remain confusion, peculiarly with items such as shares and securities, since these are included within the meaning of goods under the Sale of Goods Act. One could take an argument here that listed shares and securities are already subjected to securities transaction tax and therefore they could be an exclusion from the levy of TCS. That could be a fair point. However, in respect of unlisted shares and securities which are held either by a dealer or an investor, and when the same are being sold, typically in an off-market transaction, and if the turnover criteria or the threshold criteria is being complied with, whether the seller would be required to collect TCS in respect of sale of unlisted shares or securities remains to be a question mark. So we should expect some clarity from the CBDT soon as far as this issue goes. The second major issue which comes up here is with regards to the applicability of the threshold limit. Now the limit of INR 50 lakhs, as we see, is applicable for the entire previous year. However, the section has come into force from 1st of October 2020. So a question which would arise here is whether one has to apply the threshold for the entire previous year, or one has to levy or collect TCS only if the amount of consideration which is received post 1st October 2020 exceeds INR 50 lakhs. Now, the subsection here is pretty clear in its wordings, wherein it says that the threshold of INR 50 lakhs is for the previous year. So in my view, it would have to be for the entire year from 1st April 2020 to 31st March 2021 that we would be checking this criteria of 50 lakhs. There could be different views possible, but this is the more acceptable view to my mind. The third important issue which comes up here is whether we would be including GST into the consideration on which TCS is to be collected or no. Now again, there is no clarity here because the term consideration has not been defined in the Income Tax Act. If you look at certain judicial precedents that we have as a backup, then the term consideration would include GST, and therefore basis that a safe thing to do would be to collect TCS in respect of the consideration inclusive of the GST aspect. However, again, since there is no conclusive clarity in this regard, there could be other views possible, but this would be a safer thing to do. The most prominent issue which came to our minds when we read these provisions was what is the treatment in respect of advance. So suppose a particular seller receives certain amount as advance consideration from a buyer against which he has not supplied goods. Would TCS be required to be collected in respect of that advance as well? So the prominent view here is that tax collection at source, or TCS, is linked to receipt of consideration. So the trigger for applicability of these provisions is as such receipt. So one could take a view that if you are at all collecting any advances, there would be a levy of, you would be required to collect TCS as a part of that consideration which is received as advance. The next issue which could come up to our minds is what would be the probable scenario in case of a sales return. So suppose the sale has already happened and TCS has been collected, but subsequently the buyer returns back the goods which have been sold. So what is the recourse, or what is the remedy available to the buyer? So apparently right now there is no clarity in respect of what could happen in a scenario like this, but I believe that there would be no recourse because the seller would have collected the tax and already paid it to the credit of the government. So the buyer of the goods, when he is filing his income tax returns, he could take a credit of the amount of TCS which was collected by the seller. So these are few issues which are the prominent issues which come up to our mind when we look at these particular provisions. Any views and analysis discussed here should not be construed as a legal opinion. This is just a discussion that we are having with regards to these provisions. There could be a plethora of issues, and I believe there are several representations made by various forums to the government seeking clarity, and all we can do is hope that the CBDT comes out with a circular or some sort of clarification soon with respect to these provisions. Thank you. If at all you want to get in touch, you can get in touch on my email ID, which is caprachiparekh@gmail.com. Please subscribe to the channel for more updates. Thank you for watching.